Wolfpack Nation, we are back now here for our part 2 of our basketball season recap. We did men's basketball part 1. Now we're going to be doing women's basketball here in part 2. So, definitely, again, just as a reminder, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you don't miss out any new Tuffy Talk content. Hit this like button if you enjoy this video, and also to give us a follow Tuffy Talk now on Twitter and Instagram. So, with that being said, the first thing which I gotta just go ahead and say. So we went 20-12 overall, 9-9 in conference, 12-3 at home, 5-7 on the road. And I know that I immediately look at just that record and say, yeah, no, that's not. I mean, for most teams, 20-12, 9-9 conference, I'd be like, hey, that's pretty good, not bad. But I mean, for us, I feel like that we have entered a new level in our program where, I mean, we have higher expectations for our team just because of the fact that we've proven that, first of all, I mean, Westmore is one of the great college basketball coaches in all of women's basketball, but also too, because of the fact that, I mean, you look at the resume of the players that you have here. You have multiple 4 or 5 star recruits. You have players that, whether it's, played here or played, elsewhere, are proven to be productive players. And so you say, well, if I take all that and put it together, that should be a top 20 team in the country, at least solidly. I mean, conservatively. And especially, again, I mean, I know just looking at how we went 12-3 at home. I mean, we routinely would go undefeated, maybe give up 1 loss at home, maybe, if we had a rough night. But I mean, to lose 3 times at home, I mean, that hurts for sure. But also too, unfortunately, it comes with the fact as well that, I mean, as much as we don't like the coach, UNC is getting better, Duke is getting better. Louisville, who was like the top tier, is they're still back. They're taking a half step back for sure. So, but again, the ACC has gotten really, really competitive, and so to me, it's kind of like softball a little bit, but even though where basically softball, all the teams they see have gotten so much better that we have to raise our standards just because of the fact that the ACC overall is getting better. So all the expectations we have just for our team within its own circle, we have to take up a notch or two just because of the fact that the ACC overall has gotten so much more competitive over the last year or two.
Well, you had 9 out of 15 teams make the NCAA tournament. I mean,
which is crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy. I think we had the most teams. I'm pretty sure it was us, and maybe the SEC had as many. But
I couldn't imagine many, if any, having more than us.
No, the best you probably are doing is tying.
Yeah. So I want to kind of talk about kind of this beginning stretch right here. So first game, where we really started to get tested was when we played at UConn. Obviously, that went terribly. Lost 91-69, and I mean, I think we were losing probably 20-2 or something like that early in the game. It was just really bad. And but then 3 games later, we go to Iowa, and Caitlin Clark's, the house like Caitlin Clark built, and we beat them 94-81. We beat them, easily, and scored 94 points to do it. And you're like, dude, that what the heck are we watching right here? But
we held her to 47 points. So
yeah, we held her to 47 points. I like that. Oh, you're the man, Greg. Yeah. So, but then let's see. Then our first ACC game at home. Our first ACC game. Second ACC game at home. So we lost to Clemson. We beat Clemson at home, but then you lose to Duke, 72-58. It just felt like, once again, that this team just didn't have consistency, a lot of consistency to it, but also to a lot of reliancy. And because I think we definitely learned once we lost Diamond, we were very reliant on Diamond. I think that's really what you learned as the season went, was that we really relied a lot on Diamond's productivity in order to win these games.
And it got worse once you lost Jessica Timmons to the portal, because she really was Diamond's primary backup at point guard, and then you end up seeing Sanaya having to take over those duties, and then that takes her off of running the 2 or the 3, in Wes's system. So it threw everything in a flux, and we just couldn't figure it out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. No, so Michael, kind of give me your initial thoughts. And again, I'm kind of going through here where obviously you saw the low, but then you saw the big high, but then you saw us, losing to Duke, losing, to UNC, but then you see us beating Notre Dame at home. And it's like, oh, like we're just all over the place this season.
And and we've talked about it before that, when you have a talented team, that's going to happen. You're going to win some games. With the talent you have, but the consistency part comes with leadership, and that's a lot of what we lost last year. I mean, obviously you lost some elite talent last year as well, but you still have enough on the team this year that it was kind of, they should have been better than what they were. Mm-hmm. That up and down is going to come when you don't have that experienced leadership that we have had, and we're lucky to have the last couple of years. Yeah.
And I think all of this too really is stuff that we've said multiple times, whether it's on live shows or episodes, whether it's that we just didn't have the skill level that we needed and expected that we had on the inside, but also too, we've lost all of our 3-point shooting capability, which, unfortunately, like you were saying in the men's basketball, Greg, that the games moved a lot more to shooting the three, and men's, like, dude, the game is 95% shooting the three in women's basketball. And if you only have, really, which,
we shot 31% from three as a team.
Yeah. So 31%, but I feel like that Diamond Johnson was really the only one, which if she shot three, that I was like, all right, this has a good chance going in. Like, but I mean, Jakia shot 30%,
which is crazy.
But
which is crazy. I was going to say Jakia would be the one that you would think that would bring those numbers up. Right. For me, when we were just kind of talking, I was just thinking when you were just giving your breakdown, Leighton, the one thing that came to me was we had a lot of good individual pieces, but we didn't have a good team piece. And so you had a lot of great individual components, but for whatever reason, they just didn't come together as a team at times. Yeah. You'd have a Camille Hobby great game, and then she would not show up for a game or two. And then you'd have a Mimi Collins game, and then she wouldn't show up. And then you'd have Diamond show up. You'd have a Jakia Boyd game. You'd have a Jada Boyd game. But it didn't feel like they would either put those games back to back, or you'd have like 2 or 3 of them put the games together at the same time. So for me, that was, to me, the what was the most baffling piece. And sometimes that's just matchups and, how you're feeling from game to game. But as a whole, it just didn't feel cohesive throughout the whole year. You had 2 transfers that left in the middle of the season, which I've never seen happen at NC State, men's or women's. So that was kind of odd. Just a lot of weirdness through the season.
Yeah. Well, it's a good way to describe the season.
Yeah.
It's just a weird season.
Well, and I think, and again, obviously we're huge Westmore fans, to say the least. I mean, I started off saying he's one of the greatest, one of the all-time great coaches, women's basketball, currently coaching. But I think that since, first of all, we're not the first one to say this, but also too, that I'm sure he would agree with this, it wasn't his best coaching job this year. It wasn't, I mean, just to, obviously, losing two players, just like you said, never really being able to get all the players to buy in together, which I feel like is, that's not all coaching, but that is a good bit of that is coaching, for sure, in order to get the players to buy in. But also
he's like a CEO. When you're the owner of a company or running a company, you need to find ways to get, what makes this person gel. How do you get the most out of this person? How do you incentivize them to step up and do what they're supposed to or need to be doing?
Yeah. Well, especially because of the fact that, I feel like the 2 people that, going into the season that he would say, like, these are my peeps that are going to help me run this program, and Jakia Brown-Turner and Jada Boyd.
He was singing her praises.
Oh yeah, dude, he was like, man, like laughing when he got the news that Jada Boyd was coming back. Like, hey, Jada's coming back. But man, just everything which he needed from them, he didn't get. He didn't get consistency. Yeah. He didn't get leadership. He didn't get energy. And this is not hate. This is not hate on them. It's just factually what I am seeing. I am not seeing energy. And then numbers, you're just looking at the stats going, there was maybe 1 out of 4 or 5 games that Jakia, and Jada would be productive, if that. And unfortunately, it just came down to that you were very reliant on Diamond Johnson and Sanaya Rivers, which again, I feel for Sanaya because, man, like she really came into NC State trying to prove herself as, a great basketball player that can be a great piece to help build on a championship team, not be the piece to build a championship team. You know what I mean? And later in the season, that's what you kind of got. Go ahead, Greg.
What would you say though if I told you statistically Jada Boyd had a better season than last year?
I would say
didn't feel like it though.
I would believe that because she just had a bigger role,
more minutes. That's what I would say.
How much better are we talking?
Yeah, it's with the bump in time, you would think it would be more. I'll just leave it at that. Like, yes, she did have better numbers. To your point, Michael, she played more, but it wasn't proportional, if that makes sense. So she was up almost 2 points a game. She was slightly up on rebounds, an assist more. Blocks stayed basically the same. Steals stayed basically the same. Her turnovers just a minuscule tick up. But here's the big difference, and I'll say this. Her field goal percentage was down almost 14%.
Wow.
So there it goes, right? So, again, her points went up because she played more, but the efficiency wasn't there. And I think that's kind of the point where we're trying to make here.
Yeah, absolutely. And honestly, and more to kind of move off of Jada and Jakia. Again, we talked about, the inside game with Camille, with Mimi, and with River. And just, unfortunately, especially with, if we're looking at the ACC, Elizabeth Kitley, who, is a 2-time now ACC Player of the Year, and rightfully so, is that you have to be able to have somebody that can handle the inside, and also to be respected on the inside. So that way defenders know, okay, if this player has a ball, I need to keep an eye on it. Not basically, okay, like, our center's got this player. Like, I don't need to worry about it. I can just, hang out here and make sure that Diamond doesn't get the ball or, lock down her, make sure she doesn't get by me, whatever it may be. And we just didn't have that player this year. And even on these 3 players' best nights, I still don't think we necessarily had that in terms of that, that, wow, watch out for Camille, or, man, watch, like, Mimi Collins, I would say probably is maybe the player you would kind of circle as the, first of all, I got to give props off to her. She was probably one of the most energetic players, which I love to watch. Like, she was somebody that got hype for sure, which I love to see that. So definitely got to give hats off to Mimi for, really trying to be that spark to get the bench and the fans going. So,
yeah. So again, I'm just looking at stats here, right? And
yeah, please.
Camille did what Camille did, right? And here's the thing, though, and it's not fair to Camille and it's not fair to Mimi. We're going to compare them to last year's team because that team was so successful, right? And that's what our recent memory is honed on.
Yeah.
Camille's numbers were better than last year. She had almost 3 points a game, 3.5 points more a game. Here's the thing. You're replacing a 15 to 17 point person in Elisa Cunane. Camille was never going to be that person.
Yeah.
So to compare them together, I don't think that's really fair to Camille.
No.
She did her thing. The problem was we didn't have the pieces around her, right? We didn't have other pieces that could step up and replace those numbers. We lost 4 amazing players last year. Was it 4? I'm thinking 4. Yeah, 4.
4.
With Cunane, Reina, Kai, and
Kayla.
Thank you.
Kayla.
That was just hard to replace. And we knew, like, obviously Coach left some spots open this year because of next year's class. And then you had the 2 transfers out. You were hoping Sophie Hart steps up. She didn't. She was out. She left. Then you have the injuries to Jada and to Diamond, and then River Baldwin. Again, River Baldwin was supposed to just be a role player. Like, she had to step up because Sophie left. Like, again, you were thinking Sophie Hart was going to be that person. She was a 5-star recruit coming in, and she left this year. So, again, I said it earlier. I'm going to keep saying it. It was just a weird season. This is not – I really believe this is just an outlier. I don't think this is going to be the thing moving forward.
Before we continue, I want to take a quick second to tell you about our sponsor, Flatlands Jessup Insurance Group, that has your whole world covered, with agents in 5 offices throughout eastern North Carolina to help you decide how much coverage you need. Offering policies for home and auto, recreational vehicles, commercial, crop, health, life, and employee benefits. They are able to combine options to find a comprehensive solution that works for you. Flatlands Jessup protects the things you love so you can spend less time worrying and more time enjoying them. Find them on Facebook and Instagram at Flatlands Jessup. You can also visit their webpage at www.flatlandsjessup.com. So please make sure to go and check them out.
Yeah. I would agree with that, and I hope that's true because, NCAA tournament appearance, if that's the floor for Westmore, which I think it should be at this point, then that's a good spot the program's in.
Yeah. Well, and again, just like I was saying earlier, that we have gotten to a level where we don't want to just be a great team. We want to be one of the best teams in all the country. We want to be competing for a national championship. And if you look at the top teams in the country, they have really 3 main things. They have great depth, they can shoot the 3, and they have a person down low that can be dominant. And you have that with Virginia Tech, Elizabeth Kidley. You had that with South Carolina with Leah Boston. And so if I'm Westmore, I'm saying I'm going to go do whatever it takes to get the best player I can down low. And then I'm going to go get a bunch of great shooters around Diamonds to help her and Sanaya, run the show and let's go make it happen. Because I feel like we really lost all 3 of those things as the season went. We lost our depth. We didn't really have any 3-point shooting, at the beginning of the season, and then the show throughout the season. And then we just could not find that one dominant player down low that we could rely on game in and game out. So, yeah, I mean, it definitely was a weird year for sure. So definitely, I guess what I'm saying is that I'm sitting here saying I'm hoping this is a 2019 in-state football outlier. Like, this is not a story. This is just, it was just weird.
Yep.
Obviously we don't know what was going on in the locker room, but obviously, because we haven't even talked about either, like talking about Madison Hayes, I was
getting ready to go. There were some silver linings in this season, but I want to go back first to what you were saying about Coach Moore.
Please.
You could tell in his press conferences that, he just, he's that Texas boy, right? And he could just see him just, oh shucks, like I just don't know, I'm trying to figure it out just like you boys are, and just you could just tell he was just getting frustrated, and he was trying to throw everything to the wall and just find something that stuck, some kind of combination, just some kind of scheme, anything. Like, he was just moving things around all year. I mean, you saw it up until the end of the season, just finding who had a hot hand, like who can I ride this game. It was just last year you knew he could put out those 5 players, and then he could roll in those role players.
You knew what you were gonna
and
get.
It just did its thing. It was a well-oiled machine. It just kept chugging and chugging. This year he's like, nope, got to tinker here, got to pull this, got to pull some wedge out. Like, it was just one of those things, and you could just feel it, and. Look, I love Coach Moore. He's going to figure this thing out. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah. And I will be very interested to see what next season looks like.
Yeah. It's a top 5. Well, I mean, so anyway, if we can go back to like some of the silver linings, right? Some things that we found out this year that were the good, right? Because obviously we don't like to dwell on the negative here, but you saw the emergence of Isaiah James, especially when Diamond went out. So I think she's going to be a big piece of what we do next year, at least while you're at least trying to get the freshmen up to speed, right? So she's someone that you can plug in. You still got Madison Hayes, she's a bulldog on that defensive. Like, I love her energy. I love her. I know I did. I pulled a late in there.
You took my word.
Yeah, it's all, buddy. And then you saw obviously what Sanaya Rivers can do, and I think she's going to only get better when she doesn't have to run the point guard. I mean, she led us in like almost every offensive category minus points. So she's just an all around great player. So I think
off the ball, I'm excited.
That's what I want to see. I want to see her, do her thing, because she can dribble, drive, and then, either finish at the rim or kick out for a shot. And, if we get some shooters around her, which we got shooters coming, we'll talk about that, but we have shooters coming. And so I don't think this is a team where you're going to see that's going to shoot 31% from 3 next year. I think they're going to be up around 40 next year if I had to put money on it.
They need to. Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, with Madison, I think that she's, again, a great role piece that can do it all. Brings a lot of energy to the court. And then with Isaiah, you see the potential in her, but you also see a lot of turnovers. You see a lot of rookie freshman-ish mistakes that you're like, okay, like, Isaiah, like, if you are going to be that player for us, we need you to clean that up. Simple as that. We need you to make smart passes. We need you to make the smart plays when we need it. Which I know a lot of that too has to do with the pieces, even too, as well, as much as it does her. But it's just a matter of fact saying, hey, listen, like, just keep in mind that with the players we have coming in next year, you're going to have competition. But also too that if we are going to be one of the top teams, we're going to need you as well. So it's like either way, whether it's competition or whether it's just, listen, we need you as a great death piece to really help us take the next step. Then that's the conversation you got to have.
Yeah, she played. Just kind of throwing some stats out for her. She played 7 more games than she did last year, and her points doubled. And she went from 4.2 to 6.8 points. Her turnovers, like you said, did go up. She was averaging a half turnover last year. She's just over 1 this year. Her field, she's gonna need to improve on that 3-point shooting. She's only shooting 28%, but I like her stroke. She's got a nice release. She just needs confidence. I think is just seeing the ball go in and just
that too.
And for her, and you were talking about the turnovers for her. It's just game reps. She just got to get in there, and so hopefully, like you're saying, she kind of learned trial by fire this year. You threw this season out, but you got some people, some really good experience, and now you know what you have moving in the next year where you probably don't have to figure it out on the fly. You're going into off season knowing, okay, I can rely on this person for 15, 20 minutes a game, and we're not going to have a drop off.
Absolutely. Exactly. So now let's talk about some of the players that we know are coming in next season. First of all, I got to start off with, the highlight of it all on Zoe Brooks, who is a baller. She is going to be a huge productive player for us next year.
McDonald's All-American.
Yeah, she's the number 9 player in the country, class 2023, and she's only gone up and up and up as the year has gone. Yeah. But averaged 18.1 points per game, 4.5 assists, 3.8 steals, and 3.7 assists a game as a junior. So last year, so that's not even her stats this year, which are even better than that. So, she's a great combo guard that can do it all. Can shoot, can get to the basket, can distribute the ball, and also too can be just an animal on the defensive side of the ball as well. So
she actually also participated in the NBA All-Star game.
Mm-hmm.
So it was regular NBA. I don't think it was even WNBA, was it? I think it was.
No, I think it was the regular.
Yeah, she did a skills competition there. So again, just a nice accolade or nice thing to see. They're not just picking anybody to go participate in those events. So that's something to be real excited about what we have coming in. And you mentioned her, and then overall, did you mention that it's a top 5 recruiting class? Did you already mention that?
Did
part?
not.
Yeah,
did not. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, but continue on with the rest of them.
Yeah, but then Maddie Collier is somebody that obviously she's the number 55 player in the country. She ranks as an ESPN scout grade of a 93, averaged 13.7 points, 8.2 rebounds, and a block per game during her junior year. The interesting thing is that she is 6'3", which is the same size as Mimi Collins, which again I always had to kind of keep back my mind, being like, it's a little different. It's women. It's a little different. You don't have 7. You don't necessarily have the 7-foot centers like you do in men's.
6'5" equals 7 foot. So if you do the ratio.
Yeah. So again, from what I've seen of her, I think it's another great piece that can work down low, but also has a mid-range game as well that can be very, very beneficial. So it'll be interesting to see, what other pieces that West brings in, because again, keep in mind that River, Mimi, and Camille are all gone. So now you're gonna have to replace
and Jada,
the center. Right, but
but she was a forward.
Yes, forward. Yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah. So you're gonna have to bring in other people around them.
Yeah.
But then you got, again, Maddie Cox, number 71 player in the country, who's a 6'2" forward. Again, a very versatile player. Lacey Steele, who we actually interviewed on the show, is a friend of the channel. 5'11" guard who was named Oklahoma Player of the Year this year. Again, number 56 player in the country. So again, those are basically, you have 2 guards and 2 forwards coming in. So and you're losing, a good piece, on both sides of the ball. So a great solid piece to bring in to start, but definitely going to need to go to the portal.
Yeah, I think it's pretty obvious that in the portal we're going to go big. Like, we're going to go look for forwards and centers.
Absolutely.
That
you need a senior elite center to help with Mallory as well.
Yeah,
because
I would be surprised if we took a guard from the portal.
I would be shocked if we took.
It's gonna be forwards.
You need centers. I mean, you've lost all your centers because Sophie Hart's gone. She left in the transfer portal. Camille's out of eligibility, and so is River Baldwin. You're going after a center. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You're probably going after 2.
I was gonna say I think
you might even go after 3. I don't even know. Like,
but you got to go big or go home. Sure, you got to bring in some 3-point shooting, and you got to bring in some inside players for sure. But again, just like we said, hopefully this is just the one standout year, the outlier that you can kind of look past for next season, and we can get back on track, winning AAC championship and getting to at least Sweet 16, competing for Elite 8, Final 4. I think that's part of this team.
I think Sweet 16 it should be the floor every year. Like that should be your minimum baseline, and then every year or so you should be competing for an Elite 8, and out every 3 or so years going for a Final 4. That should be where you want to be with the consistency. Here's another thing that we really haven't talked about when we were talking about Coach Moore. He's in his early 60s. I want to say he's 62, maybe 63. He's only probably going to be around another 2 to 3 years. So again, it's kind of, he will definitely leave this program in a much better place than he inherited, but now it's starting to groom. He's already 65. Okay. I was trying to give him a few younger years. So he's 65. We don't know how much longer he's going to want to hang around. He's probably going to want to enjoy his later years, and enjoy some of that money that he's made at state. But it'll be interesting 100%. To see what his plan is for succession. Whether it's someone currently on staff or someone out there. There's a lot of young coaches that have state ties, but it just something to keep an eye on.
An attractive position.
Yeah, it definitely will be for sure.
Yeah, no doubt. So, again, definitely excited to see what this team can do. I think with both these teams, you're seeing a lot of positive. You're seeing, a potential to move into the next step. That competing for the top spot level. So definitely excited to see that and make that happen. And again, I know y'all will continue and will continue to be a part of it in terms of making Reynolds one of the toughest places to play in all of women's college basketball. No doubt about it.
We love our small
definitely
gym.
Look forward to it. We love our small gym. Amen to that. And also, too, we just hope one day that we can be able to compete with the 2 great teams in the triangle of Duke and UNC per Coach Banghart, right? I mean, like, those are just the 2 teams, and we're just trying to compete with them, right? So, hopefully one day, right? Hopefully. But as always, y'all, make sure, again, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you don't miss out any new Tuffy Talk content. Hit this video if you like this recap, and also, too, give us a follow, Tuffy Talk Now, on Twitter and Instagram. Thank you all so much. We'll see y'all soon. And as always, go Pack, baby.